I've noticed something rather peculiar about the way we live our lives. We're constantly rushing somewhere, always chasing after the next thing, the next achievement, the next milestone. We tell ourselves that happiness is waiting just around the corner, that fulfillment will arrive when we finally get that promotion, find that perfect relationship, or reach that magic number in our bank account. But here's what nobody tells you. You've been dancing this whole time, and you just haven't noticed. Think about it for a moment. When you were a child, did you ever just run for the pure joy of running? Not to get somewhere, not to win a race, just to feel your legs moving and the wind in your face? That was dance. That was life happening in its purest form. You weren't thinking about where you'd end up. You weren't worried about the destination. You were simply alive in that moment, fully present, fully engaged with the experience of being. But somewhere along the way, something changed. We started getting told that life is about getting somewhere. Our parents said, study hard so you can get into a good college. Our teachers said, get good grades so you can get a good job. Our bosses say, work hard now so you can enjoy retirement later. It's always later, isn't it? Always somewhere else. Always some future moment when life will finally begin for real. And so we spend our entire existence postponing the very experience of living. We treat the present moment like it's some kind of waiting room, a temporary inconvenience we have to endure until we reach the real destination. We think of Monday through Friday as something to survive so we can get to the weekend. We think of our 20s and 30s as preparation for some golden future that's supposed to arrive when we're older. But here's the truth that's been staring us in the face all along. There is no destination. There never was. Life isn't a journey from point A to point B. It's not a race with a finish line. It's not a problem that needs to be solved or a mountain that needs to be conquered. Life is a dance, and the whole point of a dance is the dancing itself. When you watch someone dance, do you sit there thinking they're trying to get to a particular spot on the floor? Do you watch a ballet and feel frustrated that the dancers aren't making more efficient progress toward the exit? Of course not. That would be absurd. The movement itself is the point. The expression, the rhythm, the flow of one moment into the next, that's what makes it beautiful. Your life works exactly the same way. Every single moment you're alive is the actual point of being alive. Not as preparation for some future moment, not as a stepping stone to somewhere else, but as the thing itself. This moment right now, with all its imperfections and uncertainties, is not a rehearsal. It's not a rough draft. This is it. This is the real thing happening right now. I want you to imagine something with me. Picture a musician sitting down to play a piece of music. A beautiful piano sonata, let's say. Now imagine if that musician thought the whole point of playing was to reach the final note as quickly as possible. They just hit the keys as fast as they could, rushing through the melody, speeding past all the beautiful passages, just trying to get to the end. That would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? You'd miss the entire point of the music. The final note isn't the goal. The music itself, unfolding moment by moment, phrase by phrase, that's what we came to experience. And yet this is precisely how most of us treat our lives. We're racing toward the final note, missing all the music along the way. We spend our childhood wishing we were teenagers. We spend our teenage years dreaming of being adults with freedom and independence. We spend our 20s climbing career ladders and checking off boxes. We spend our 30s and 40s accumulating and achieving. And then one day we wake up at 60 or 70 and realize we forgot to actually live. We were so busy getting somewhere that we missed the journey entirely. But here's what makes this even more strange. Where exactly did we think we were going? What is this mysterious destination we've been racing toward? Is it retirement? Is it financial security? Is it the perfect family? The perfect house? The perfect life? And then what? Even if we get all those things, then what happens? Do we just sit there feeling satisfied like we've completed some kind of cosmic checklist? The truth is, we never feel like we've arrived because there is nowhere to arrive to. The destination keeps moving. It's always one more thing, one more achievement, one more milestone. We think if we just get this next thing, then we'll be happy. Then we get it, and the happiness fades, and we set our sights on the next thing. It's an endless treadmill, and we're running faster and faster, going absolutely nowhere. Now, I'm not saying goals are bad or that planning for the future is wrong. Of course we need to do those things. We need to work, to plan, to build our lives with some sense of direction. But the problem comes when we treat everything in the present as merely instrumental, merely a means to some future end, when we forget that the real gift is happening right now. You see, life is happening while you're making all these plans. Life is occurring in the moments between the goals, in the so-called ordinary moments that we dismiss as insignificant. The conversation with your friend over coffee, the feeling of sunlight on your skin, the taste of your food, the sound of rain on the roof. These aren't the things you have to get through to reach the good stuff. These are the good stuff. Think about the last time you truly enjoyed yourself. Maybe you were laughing with someone you love, or absorbed in something you were creating, or moving your body in a way that felt good, or simply sitting quietly, feeling peaceful. In that moment, were you thinking about the future? Were you worried about your goals and destinations? Of course not. You were completely present. You had stepped into the dance. This is what I mean when I say life is a dance. When you're truly dancing, there's no separation between you and the movement. You're not thinking about the next step or the last step. You're not judging yourself or comparing yourself to other dancers. You're simply flowing with the music, responding to each moment as it comes alive in the present. And this isn't just some philosophical concept or spiritual idea. This is the most practical thing I can tell you. Because when you understand this, when you really get it in your bones, everything changes. The pressure lifts. The constant anxiety about whether you're on the right path, whether you're making progress, whether you're good enough, it all starts to dissolve. You begin to see that you can't get it wrong. There is no wrong way to dance your dance. Sure, there are ways to be more graceful, more fluid, more in tune with the rhythm. But the dance itself, the fact that you're alive and moving through this life, that's already perfect. It doesn't need to be improved or fixed or optimized. It just needs to be experienced. Let me tell you about something I see all the time. People come to me, or they write to me, and they say they feel stuck. They feel like they're not where they should be in life. They compare themselves to others and feel like they're falling behind. They look at their peers who seem more successful, more together, more accomplished, and they feel inadequate. But stuck compared to what? Behind in what race? You see, these feelings only make sense if you believe life is a competition with a finish line, a game with winners and losers. But what if it's not? What if every person is dancing their own unique dance, and the only measure of success is how fully you show up for your own experience? When you watch a sunrise, you think it's competing with other sunrises? Do you judge it as better or worse than yesterday's sunrise? No, each sunrise is its own perfect expression of that moment. It doesn't need to be anything other than what it is, and neither do you. Your life, exactly as it is right now, is your dance. Not a rehearsal for your real life, but the actual thing itself. This moment right now, as you're listening to these words, is part of your dance. Not a moment to get through so you can reach some better moment later. This one, this is it. And the next moment will be it too. And the one after that, it's all the dance. There is no moment that isn't the dance. I know this might sound like I'm saying you should just accept everything and never try to change or grow or improve your circumstances, but that's not what I mean at all. Growth and change are part of the dance too. The flower grows toward the light, but it's not postponing being a flower until it reaches some perfect position. It's being fully a flower at every stage. You can work toward things, build things, change things, while still being fully present in the process. In fact, you'll probably do it better. When you're present, when you're dancing, rather than just trying to get somewhere, you're more creative, more responsive, more alive to the possibilities of each moment. You're not so rigid and controlling. You can flow with what actually is rather than constantly fighting against reality. Here's another way to think about it. Imagine you're taking a walk in nature, through a beautiful forest or along a beach. If you're walking just to get to a specific destination, you'll miss everything along the way. You'll be so focused on reaching that point on the map that you won't see the interesting bird in the tree, the beautiful shell on the sand, the way the light filters through the leaves. But if you're walking for the sake of walking, if the walk itself is the point, suddenly everything becomes interesting. You notice things. You're available to be surprised, to be delighted, to be present with what's actually here. The destination might still exist, you might still be heading somewhere, but it's not the point anymore. The walking is the point. Your whole life can be like this. You can move through your days with this quality of presence, this quality of dance, not floating around aimlessly without any direction, but moving through your life with purpose while staying present with each step. The purpose gives direction to your dance, but the presence is what makes it actually worth doing. And here's something really beautiful that happens when you start living this way. Time changes. Not literally, of course, but your experience of time transforms completely. When you're always living for the future, time becomes this scarce resource that's constantly running out. You're always rushing, always behind, never enough hours in the day. It's exhausting. But when you're present, when you're in the dance, time opens up. Not because you have more hours, but because you're actually inhabiting the hours you have. You're not mentally somewhere else while your body goes through the motions. You're here, fully here, and there's a richness to that experience that doesn't exist when you're scattered and distracted. Think about when you were a child and summer vacation seemed to last forever, or when you've been on a vacation as an adult and really unplugged and a few days felt like weeks. That's because you were present. You were experiencing your experience instead of thinking about something else. Time is actually spacious when we inhabit it. Now, I want to address something that might be coming up for you. You might be thinking, this all sounds nice, but I have real responsibilities. I have bills to pay, a job to do, people depending on me. I can't just dance around like nothing matters. I have to plan for the future. I have to be responsible. And you're absolutely right. But see, this is where we get confused. Being present doesn't mean being irresponsible. It doesn't mean ignoring the future or failing to plan or prepare. It means doing those things from a place of presence rather than from anxiety and resistance to what is. There's a huge difference. You can pay your bills while being present with the act of paying bills. You can work while being present with your work. You can plan for tomorrow while being here today. The question isn't whether you do these things, but how you do them. Do you do them while mentally somewhere else, resenting where you are, wishing you were somewhere else? Or do you do them as part of your dance? Because here's what happens when you resist the present moment. When you treat it as something to get through, you create suffering. All suffering comes from this resistance, this rejection of what is. We think suffering comes from our circumstances, but it actually comes from our relationship to our circumstances. It comes from the story that this shouldn't be happening, that we should be somewhere else, that something is wrong. But when you accept what is, when you dance with what's actually here, something miraculous happens. The suffering dissolves. The circumstances might not change immediately, but your experience of them transforms completely. You find that you can handle things you thought you couldn't handle. You discover resources within yourself you didn't know you had. You stop fighting reality and start working with it. This doesn't mean you become passive or that you stop trying to improve things. It means you stop adding the extra layer of mental suffering on top of whatever is actually happening. Pain is unavoidable in life. Things happen. Bodies hurt, losses occur, difficulties arise, but suffering, the mental torture we add to pain, that's optional. That's what we create through our resistance. When you understand that each step is the destination, you stop resisting. You stop waiting for life to start. You realize it's already started. It started a long time ago, and it's happening right now. And this realization brings such freedom. The pressure to be somewhere else drops away. The anxiety about whether you're on track dissolves. You're exactly where you are, and that's exactly where you need to be. I want to share something with you. For most of my life, I was running. Not literally, but mentally and emotionally. I was always chasing the next thing, convinced that happiness was waiting for me somewhere up ahead. And you know what? I achieved a lot of the things I thought would make me happy. Success, recognition, the things we're told matter. And they didn't make me happy, not in the lasting way I expected. Each achievement brought a brief moment of satisfaction, and then the hunger returned. The feeling that I needed more, needed to get somewhere else, needed to be someone else. It was exhausting. And more than that, it was sad because I was missing my life, my actual, real, happening right now life. The shift came when I finally understood this simple truth. There is nowhere to get to. This is it. This moment, with all its ordinariness, with all its imperfection, this is the destination I was looking for all along. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. It's actually happening. This is the only moment I ever have. And once I got this, once I really understood it, everything changed. Not my circumstances, not initially anyway, but my relationship to my circumstances. I stopped judging each moment as good or bad based on whether it was moving me towards some imaginary goal. I started experiencing each moment for what it actually was. And I found so much more life in my life. The taste of food became interesting again, like it was when I was a child. Conversations became richer because I was actually listening instead of thinking about what to say next. Work became more engaging because I was present with it rather than resenting it as an obstacle to some future leisure. Everything brightened up, came into focus, became vivid again. This is available to you too, right now, not someday when you've figured it all out or achieved certain things or become a different person. Right now, exactly as you are, exactly where you are, you can step into the dance. You can stop treating this moment as a means to an end and start experiencing it as what it actually is, your life happening. But how do you do this practically? How do you shift from constantly future tripping to being present? Well, it starts with noticing. Just notice how much of your mental energy is spent somewhere other than where you are. Notice how often you're planning, worrying, rehearsing, remembering, fantasizing, not to judge yourself for it, just to see it clearly. Because once you see it, once you become aware of this pattern, you've already begun to shift it. Awareness itself is the doorway to presence. When you notice you're lost in thought about the future or past, you're already back in the present. The noticing happens now. And you can choose in that moment to bring your attention fully to what's actually here. What does that mean practically? It means feeling your body, really feeling it. The sensations, the breath moving in and out, the weight of your body wherever you're sitting or standing. It means looking at what's in front of you, really looking, seeing colors and shapes and light instead of just mentally labeling everything. It means listening to sounds, not through a filter of judgment, just the actual sounds arriving at your ears. It means tasting your food when you eat instead of scrolling through your phone. It means feeling the water on your skin when you shower instead of mentally planning your day. It means looking into the eyes of the person you're talking to instead of thinking about what you want to say. These small moments of presence, they add up. They become your life. And the beautiful thing is, the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You start to notice that presence feels better than absence. That being here is actually more satisfying than being lost in mental movies about the past or future. Not that you never think about past or future, but you relate to those thoughts differently. They don't drag you out of the present. You begin to move through your life with a quality of ease that wasn't there before. Things that used to stress you out don't have the same grip on you. Not because you're avoiding them or pretending they don't matter, but because you're not adding layers of mental drama on top of them. You respond to what's actually happening rather than to your thoughts about what's happening. And paradoxically, when you stop trying to get somewhere, when you fully inhabit where you are, things often start to flow more smoothly. Not magically, not because the universe is rewarding you, but because you're more effective when you're present. You make better decisions. You see opportunities you would have missed. You connect more deeply with people. You bring more of yourself to whatever you're doing. This is the secret that's been hiding in plain sight all along. The destination you've been seeking, the happiness you've been chasing, it's not at the end of some long journey. It's not waiting for you in the future. It's here, now, available in this moment. Not because this moment is perfect, but because this moment is alive, and you're alive, and that aliveness is the point. Let me tell you what this means for all those dreams and goals you have. Keep them, pursue them, build the life you want to build, but do it from a place of wholeness in the present, not from a place of lacking. Not because you need to get somewhere to be okay, but because you're already okay and you're choosing to express yourself in these particular ways. When you create from presence, from fullness, everything you create has a different quality. It's infused with life rather than driven by desperation. You're not grasping and clinging to outcomes because the process itself is satisfying. The creating is the point, not just the thing created. The working is the point, not just the achievement. The living is the point, not just the milestones. And here's something wonderful. When you're not attached to specific outcomes, when you're dancing rather than desperately reaching for something, you become more open to possibilities you couldn't have imagined. Life surprises you in beautiful ways. Things unfold that are better than what you had planned. Doors open that you didn't know existed because you're flowing with life rather than trying to force it into your narrow plans. This is what people mean when they talk about trust or faith, though those words carry a lot of baggage. It's not about believing in something unprovable. It's about recognizing that you're part of a larger dance, a larger flow. And when you relax into it rather than tensing against it, there's an intelligence at work that's far greater than your small, worried mind. You don't have to figure everything out. You don't have to control every outcome. You don't have to have a master plan for your entire life. You just have to show up fully for this step, this moment, this part of the dance. And then the next step reveals itself. Not before, but when you need it. Life unfolds one step at a time, and each step is complete in itself. Think about how a flower grows. Does it have the whole blueprint in advance? Does it worry about whether it's growing correctly, whether it's on schedule, whether it's as far along as the flower next to it? No, it simply responds to each moment. Sun, it grows toward the light. Rain, it drinks. Season changes, it adapts. And through this simple presence with what is, it becomes fully itself. You have that same intelligence within you, not as something you have to learn, but as something you already are. When you get out of your own way, when you stop trying to control and force and manipulate everything, this intelligence moves through you. You say the right thing at the right time. You're in the right place at the right moment, not magically, but naturally, because you're present and available. So where does this leave us? What do you do with all of this? Well, nothing dramatic necessarily. You don't have to change your whole life or quit your job or move to a monastery. You just have to start noticing. Start being here. Start dancing with what is instead of fighting against it. Notice when you're mentally somewhere else. When you're eating breakfast but thinking about work. When you're talking to your friend but planning what you'll say next. When you're lying in bed but worrying about tomorrow. Just notice, without judgment, that you're not here. And then gently bring yourself back. Feel your breath, feel your body, come back to this moment. Do this 100 times a day if you need to. Do it 1,000 times. Each time you notice you've wandered and come back, that's not failure, that's success. That's the practice. That's you learning to dance. And gradually, so gradually, you might not even notice at first, things shift. Presence becomes more natural. You find yourself here more often, and life starts to feel different. Not necessarily easier, not without challenges or difficulties, but more alive, more real. More like you're actually living it instead of watching it happen from somewhere else. You start to feel the texture of your experience, the richness that was there all along, but you were too distracted to notice. This is what's possible for you. Not someday, not when you're more spiritual or more evolved or more together. Right now, exactly as you are. The invitation to dance is always here, always available. You just have to accept it. You just have to say yes to this moment, whatever it contains. And I want to be clear. Saying yes to this moment doesn't mean you like everything about it. It doesn't mean you're happy about your circumstances or that you wouldn't prefer things to be different. It just means you're accepting what is as the starting point. You're not wasting your energy fighting against reality. You're working with what's actually here. From that place of acceptance, of presence, you can take whatever action is needed. But the action comes from a different place, not from resistance and fear, but from clarity and response. You see what needs to be done and you do it. Not because you have to, but because that's the next step in your dance. The exhaustion that so many people feel, the burnout, the sense of being overwhelmed, so much of that comes from this constant state of resistance, fighting against what is, wishing things were different, living anywhere but here. When you stop fighting, when you start dancing, the exhaustion lifts. Not because you're doing less, but because you're not carrying all that extra weight. And relationships transform too. When you're present with people, really present, not thinking about yourself or what you want from them or how you're coming across, but genuinely here with them. Connection deepens. People feel it when you're really there, and they respond. Conversations become real. Moments of genuine contact happen. The loneliness that comes from being surrounded by people but never really connecting, that starts to dissolve. Even difficult relationships become easier to navigate. Not because the other person changes, but because you're not bringing all your resistance and reactivity to every interaction. You can be with what's happening, respond to what's actually occurring rather than to your thoughts about what's occurring. There's space for something new to emerge. So this is my invitation to you. Stop waiting for your life to begin. Stop treating today as the price you have to pay for some better tomorrow. Stop postponing your own existence. You're here, you're alive. This is it. This moment, right now, is your life happening. Not a rehearsal, not a warm-up, the real thing. And it's enough. You're enough. You don't need to be somewhere else or someone else for your life to count. Your dance, exactly as it is valid and valuable and complete. Not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. It's real. It's happening. And that's the only thing that ever really matters. Every step you take is the destination. Every moment you live is the arrival. You've been trying to get somewhere, you already are. You've been seeking something you already have. You've been waiting for permission to live that nobody can give you except yourself. So give it. Give yourself permission to be here, to show up fully, to dance your dance. This doesn't mean you'll never struggle or feel lost or have hard days. Of course you will. That's part of the dance too. The hard steps are still steps. The difficult moments are still your life. You don't have to wait until everything is perfect to start being present. You can be present with imperfection. You can dance with difficulty. In fact, presence doesn't mean everything feels good. It means you're feeling what's actually here rather than numbing out or checking out or mentally escaping. Sometimes what's here is uncomfortable. Sometimes it's painful. But when you're present with it, when you let yourself actually feel it, it moves through you. It doesn't get stuck. It's the resistance that makes pain into suffering. This shouldn't be happening. Why is this happening to me? I can't handle this. That creates the torture. When you drop the resistance and just meet what is, you discover you're bigger than you thought. You can hold more than you believed possible. You're more resilient than you knew. And on the flip side, presence makes the good things so much better. When something beautiful happens and you're actually there for it, actually feeling it, not already moving on to the next thing, the richness is extraordinary. Joy becomes deeper. Love becomes more real. Beauty stops being something you consume and becomes something you participate in. So start now. Not in some dramatic way, just simply right now, as you're taking in these words, feel yourself breathing. Feel the air moving in and out of your body. Notice the sounds around you. Feel whatever you're sitting or standing on. This is you being present. This is you stepping into the dance. This simple, this available, right now. And tomorrow, do it again. And the next day, and the day after that. Not as a task or obligation, but as a gift you give yourself. The gift of your own presence, your own life, actually lived. Not thought about, not planned for, not reminisced about, but lived, experienced, danced. This is the only thing I can really offer you. Not a technique or system or path to enlightenment, just this simple recognition that you're already home. You've already arrived. There is nowhere to get to because you're already it. You're already here. And here is where life is happening. Here is where the dance is. So dance it. Dance your life. Not perfectly, not gracefully necessarily, just authentically. Show up for your own experience. Be here for your own existence. Stop waiting. Stop preparing. Stop rehearsing. This is the performance. This is the concert. This is the real thing. And you're invited. You've always been invited. Every step is the destination. Every moment is the arrival. Every breath is the journey and the goal. You're not going anywhere because you're already everywhere. You're not becoming anything because you already are everything you need to be. You're just here, alive, present, dancing, and that's enough. That's everything. That's the whole point.